Bangers Thursday phone in association with Leith Spirits. I'm Matty, and it's a smaller than usual crowd for us, at least to kick off with. We might have people joining us as the evening goes. We are live on YouTube, so if you're watching it, feel free to use the comments to join in the conversation, and I'll put your comments to our wonderful panel here. We are on the back of a 3-0 win, which is why it's quiet. It's always busier when we get beat. But the back of a 3-0 win and coming off the bottom of the league, we have been drawn against Clydebank at home in the Cup, so we can't moan about the Cup draw being unkind. It's good. And we've had Garvan Stewart, I have to remember his name quickly there, join the club or confirmed as joining the club as Head of Recruitment. So a little bit of a reshuffle behind the scenes at Easter Road as well. Derby tickets also went on sale today, so I don't know if you guys were lucky in getting a ticket. Ian, you Hibs first, are you?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Guarantee. What a great scheme that is. Like a bit of discussion on that on Hibs night earlier on, and I think it's a if folk can pay it, they can guarantee the ticket. What way to do it takes a bit of the stress away, doesn't it? Right. Well, Ian, you were first on, so I'll start with you. Where do you want to kick us off?
I mean, because I'm a supporter who goes to all the games, so win, lose or draw, it's just something I do. It's actually part of my makeup and I travel with the 2016 bus, so therefore to away games, and nobody moans when we lose when we got in the bus. But I didn't realise how happy I was until Sunday night when I put the highlights on again, and I realised I'd been happy all Saturday evening and Sunday, and I'd never realised that. I mean, obviously I was happy at the cup final when we won that. And but I mean, it's very rarely that you get elated by watching Hibs, but I really was. Like everyone else, I had the normal nerves after we went 1-0 up, even 2-0. You were still thinking it. And when Josh scored to make it third, it was great. It was quite interesting because I think one of the things you talked about was about Block 7 and whether we would actually, I mean, because obviously they had their sacked the board last week. And it was quite interesting because you were at the Dundee game where they were, asking Ben Kensel to get to fuck, and that was actually but what happened was when Josh's third goal went in, we were actually applauding, doing a minute's applause for a Motherwell person. So we're all actually doing the minute's applause, and then suddenly we scored while the minute's applause was going on. I always think that's hellish. But Block 7 were actually stopped by the police from bringing their banner in because I was a wee bit late getting in, and Block 7 guys were trying to negotiate with the police. So I don't see what this has got to do with the police, but unless Hibs for some reason put the word out they didn't want this there, but that would be really hellish if that's the case. But Block 7 were turned away with their banner. They were obviously, they got in and they supported, which as well as they normally do. But it was amazing to see their banner being told to go back to the bus. I was very, very pleased to see I didn't care what was going on at first, but to see the disabled supporters being involved in the lineup handshakes, that was really good.
It was excellent.
It was great. It was also very interesting. I don't know if anybody else noticed, but one of the disabled supporters, he is the official towel holder for the long throws from that side. It's quite interesting. He really is. He has a towel in his wheelchair that he hands out to the Motherwell guy who takes the long throws from that side. But I tend to notice things like that. But it was interesting that the Motherwell number 5, Coffee Barmer, he dislocated his finger, I'm pretty sure, at 60 minutes. I don't know if anyone saw that, but I'm sure he put it back in himself. And it is, speaking as someone who's done that at rugby and had to put it back in himself, it's really painful. But I thought I saw him right away, and he was in absolute agony. I mean, basically, Miko, I just think shouldn't have played. I mean, I know he scored, but he's a lone player, and Dwight Gale is a much better striker. Basically, Dwight Gale was just a dream, when he came on. And like at the Aberdeen game, Josh looked like scoring as soon as he came on. So I mean, I really, really enjoyed the game. I've got some comments actually on the recruitment head. When we go to that, I'll come in more comments on that. But obviously,
Okay.
the game was great. It was great to win. It was great to see Josh playing so well when he came on. Ellie played very well as well. So it was overall, it was just a delight. And for a change, I was happy. And I don't know what it's like when you come home. When you come home from the game, I mean, my wife just says, "Did you win?" And she always asks the same thing for years. Did you win? And she was astounded that we won.
So she preempting the answer these days, eh?
Uh-huh.
I always find it makes a huge difference to the weekend. You like, if we get beat, I find it difficult to sleep on a night when we've been beaten because I want to still keep talking about it. And I'll be on the Bounce or Hibs.net or Twitter or Blue Sky as it is now, trying to find somebody to engage with to talk about the game. But also when we win, I think I'm worse because you want to hear other people talking about all the good stuff as well. But it totally changes the mood for the weekend. I'm all on board with that. Joe, what did you make of it on Saturday?
Well, I have to say it's great to be off the bottom of the league. When I came home from the Aberdeen game on Tuesday night last week, I had a smile on my face for the first time this season, and my wife said, "They must have won." I said, "No, but we scored 3 goals and we didn't get beat." But then to go on and win 3-0 on Saturday was great. But as we're entering the Christmas season, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to be the Scrooge today, guys, because you got to put these 2 results into perspective. Aberdeen have failed to win any of their last 4 games. They've lost 2 and they've drawn 2, one of which was against us. Motherwell, it's even a lot worse. They've lost 4 out of their last 5 games. You can beat an egg, you can beat a retreat, and you can beat Motherwell. Everyone's beaten Motherwell now. So, yes, we beat Motherwell 3-0, but they're a crap side. So I think Hibs are going to go up and up and up, by the way. There's such a narrow space between Dundee United in 4th and where we are at second bottom. I think we can turn this around. So I'm really positive, but I just thought I'd start off by saying we need to put the last 2 results into perspective. Aberdeen are kind of on the wane now, and Motherwell are crap.
Do you think that's Aberdeen's bubble burst now, Joe?
Bubble burst might be too strong a word because they only narrowly got beat at the end of the game with Celtic, who are far ahead of the rest of us, as we know. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say their bubbles burst. They put in a really good performance against Celtic yesterday, but I think Rangers have suddenly got a spring in their step. I think they'll probably end up overtaking Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen will end up in the third, Europa Cup spot or whatever it's called at the end of the season. That there's a big gap between those 2 and the rest of the league, but we could quite easily sneak through to 4th yet. There's still plenty of time. What we've got to do, though, is between now and the 1st of January, when we can sign 2 or 3 key players, is just hang on and grind out some results, because there's no easy games really there. Coming up. I mean, Celtic, if they get away with a 2-0 loss or something like that, respectable, because they're miles above everybody else. But then grind out results against Ross County, Hearts, Kilmarnock, and so on. Yeah, Aberdeen again. That's the key bit of our season, I think.
You've got Ian Tocco in the comments agrees with you, Joe. He says, "Look, it's absolutely fabulous. We won, but we have miles and miles to go. I've said it before, one sandwich doesn't make a picnic." And Stevie Cora says, "Focus on the positives, forget the negatives. We're no longer bottom." One of the things we picked up, and I think it was either extra time or on the podcast on Sunday, was the difference in performance stats-wise from our 2-1 defeat to Motherwell to the 3-0 win. And it was very negligible. In fact, we had much less possession in the 3-0 win than we did in the 2-1 defeat. And I think 1 fewer shot in the 3-0 win than the 2-1 defeat. And I suppose it goes back to what you're saying about kind of keeping it in perspective, Joe. But the other way around, because everybody was upset about how the game had gone against Motherwell when we lost. But in terms of actual performance, there wasn't a huge difference until the red card in that defeat. Are you starting to see the performances come together a wee bit now, Joe, do you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the acid test is, we've got a tough December ahead of us, but all of the games bar Celtic are winnable if we're on form. But I agree with what Ian had said earlier before we came on air. I think we've got to have Dwight Gale in the team. I think Nico, I don't rate him, I'm afraid, and I think we should stop playing the lone players where possible. If they're not performing, then you play them.
There is a school of thought, Joe. I'd be interested to get your views on it. That January might be an opportunity to sort of cut a few of the lone players loose and look to replace them. Would you go down that path, or
Yeah.
would you give them the rest of the season to sort of prove themselves?
No, I think I probably would ditch the lone players where possible, but I don't know what's in their contracts. We may be stuck with some of them till the end of the season. But other than Triantis, I'd get rid of the rest, especially the goalkeeper.
What did you make of Smith? He obviously got the
Yeah,
clean sheet.
I mean, he let in a howler in the Aberdeen game. We all know that. But give the laddie a chance. And I thought he certainly looks more in command of his penalty area than Bursic did. So, yeah, let's see what comes.
It's quite funny because Colin the other day, who's obviously better qualified than we are, but Colin the other day referred to Smith's kicking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what he meant was distribution, but he kept on calling it kicking, which I thought was great. His kicking is good.
It's kicking. It's kicking. What is it? That's how he's distributed it. He's booted it.
I know, but I mean, the ball went out from hand at probably 50% of the time. I thought it was quite interesting, though, the fact that we've left playing out from the back, miles behind. We've left playing out from the back as the only option miles behind now, which is great.
And can I quickly say,
of course you can.
I think playing the 3-5-2, huge difference. That playing at the back three that we've got just now, we've definitely tightened up at the back with that formation.
Would you stick with it for Saturday against Celtic,
Oh,
Joe?
for sure. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely.
Tracy, I'll bring you in. We've got a comment for Stevie said, this is where the fans really have to start backing Sir David and forget about the terrible start we've made. Gray will get as much time as he requires. For me, he gave us all the greatest day ever. I gather, knowing you're probably right behind that sentiment. What did you think of Saturday?
First, obviously, I was watching. I wasn't at the game. I had considered going, but ended up not. So when I had seen that obviously I've got that many games on my live score, so it comes up and you're like, oh, please be Hibs, please be Hibs. You're like, oh my God, we're 1-0 up. And then you're like, right, okay, keep it calm. And then when you see it, and then you're like, holy shit, we've won 3-0. It's just like, wow. And I think my first feeling was I'm so chuffed for Dave and I'm so chuffed for the team because we've taken an absolute battering from the media, from supporters. We've taken a battering from everywhere. So I was just really, really chuffed for them. You could see that there seemed to be a real togetherness with the Aberdeen game. And it obviously gave them that confidence, that we weren't the team that were losing out in the last few minutes of the game as well. We were the team that were still pushing on and obviously got our rewards for it when we could have gone on to win it. But yeah, no, just so much better. As you said, I was quite surprised when I saw that we had less possession as well, but always say possession wins you nothing. Always go back to the Celtic and Barcelona game. I think Celtic had 17% possession and beat them. So it means absolutely nothing in football. But yeah, no, I was just really chuffed. Good performance as well. Did watch the highlights. But yeah, first thing was I was really chuffed for Dave and the lads.
It's funny what Tracy's saying there, David. If you at the end of the game, not only at the end of the game, but throughout the game, started by block 7 as usual, but we was just saying David Gray the whole time. And at the end of the match, David was actually hanging back a bit from the rest of the players because obviously you reckoned that players had delivered that, but we kept on singing his name and he eventually came forward. But the other thing that Tracy's saying about the players being together, it was fabulous to see. What happened was the players turned around and started walking back to the tunnel, and Rocky was at the front walking ahead, and Warren O'Hara ran and jumped on his back, you know, they were just celebrating. It was fabulous. Warren O'Hara jumped on Rocky's back. It was great, you know, just like we laddies, you know, it was great.
No, it's good because you think of Rocky, he's had to wait for his time.
Yeah.
Even Ellie's had to wait for his chance to get on. But now you see it because he's getting that consistent game time. He's becoming the player that we know he can be. Obviously, if he was a messy type, he wouldn't be at Hibs. But you know, and he is a player that you need to take. You need to give him a hug. You need to tell him how wonderful he is. He's just that kind of player. You know, everybody has to be managed differently, but he is that kind of player. But he seems to, you know, he seems to have a good relationship with Hoylett as well. So yeah, I think it's just it's great to see. And even the goalkeeper, what he said, 2 or 3 years out from playing. So he's really waited for his chance. And I think he's done not a bad job to keep his place as well.
Agreed. And if you see the complete joy of the whole team when Rocky got that late equaliser against Aberdeen, there was a great togetherness, Tracy.
It really was. Yeah. Lucy missed it. She was sleeping.
Disaster.
I was like, I can't believe she's missed Rocky scoring.
I think, Tracy, without stating obvious, right, because clearly Hibs needed to get points on the board, and David Gray needed points on the board as well, given the start to the season that we had. But how important do you think that last week has been in terms of David Gray's time at Hibs?
Massive. I think as well it's shown that he's had the players together as well, because obviously with the international breaks we've had, you know, obviously they haven't obviously been playing well, but they're still getting their call-ups. But we've had quite a lot of call-ups, so we've had the whole team's not been able to train together for such a long time as well. And when you have those gaps and when you're in that position in the table, that's a lot more difficult. So I think it's shown that they've been able to spend more time together training and work on a lot of things as well. I think the only way is up. I can't see us falling into, I mean, obviously we've got Celtic on Saturday, and as everyone said, Celtic are on just a completely different planet for the rest of us. It depends whether or not I let John home on Saturday night or not. But because he's like, oh, you're going to get absolutely battered on Saturday. And I was like, I actually don't think we will. I think we'll see a performance, but I don't think we'll get the same as what happened to County. But yeah, I do think that you can see we've seen some of the performances starting to come together in games, even though we've not been getting the results. Now we're seeing the performances and we're actually getting something from it. So I feel that that's probably doing us good, and I think this is obviously a really busy month for us, but the more games we play, the more they're getting to play together and train together, then it can only be good for us.
I think a lot of people have got short memories because, you know, if you go to the games, then what happens is that you tend to see more of a trend, and until the Dundee game, really, or the St. game, can't remember what the hell it was, but we'd actually played very well in most of the games. We'd actually been really unlucky or whatever, and so our performances were actually good. And so it was quite interesting because I think it was again Warren O'Hara that did the pre-match interview for the Motherwell game. I think it was him anyway, and he said, I remember him finishing up with, "We just feel we're not very far away," you know. And that's what he said. He said, because the interviewer said to him, you know, what have you got to improve on, whatever. And I think he pretty much said, well, the coaching staff have got us operating really well, and we just think we're not very far away. And it proved to be the case, of course. But I think we've had a lot of good performances this year, and they've not got the results in, as Tracy said.
I think it's a case here that we're maybe getting a little bit more of the rub of the green in the last couple of games. Yeah,
that was the point. That was the point you made on
Aberdeen.
Yeah, but no, the point. I mean, things like hitting the bar, like Motherwell hitting the post, whereas normally that would have gone in, you know. So Motherwell hit the post and it would have been 2-1 instead of bounced out, you know. So yes, I agree, Matty. But I think it's a case of couldn't get much worse in terms of rubs of the game. But as everyone knows, if you toss a coin, and you know it's 50% each time. So I don't think there's anything. It's just bad luck, but there's no reason for it stopping.
And it's not just bad lucky. And if you look at what's happened to Hearts this season, Shankland has hardly scored a goal, whereas last year he scored 30 goals. To have that one striker in form, we've not had a striker in form. In fact, we've not had a striker, in my view.
Yeah, that's
but,
right.
That's why I think they should give Gale a chance. Maybe 34 years old, but he's got class.
And he's definitely scoring goals. As Colin said a couple of weeks ago, scoring goals is definitely a problem.
Yeah.
It's, with a number of chances we had, and so Ellie obviously headed the ball straight at the keeper against Motherwell, whereas it was far easier to put it somewhere other than that,
Stevie said the Hearts sacked Naismith for less. They've employed someone worse, in my opinion. Now, we've been making that mistake for years now since Hecky was sacked. And even at 2-0 up, we're all waiting for the collapse. I know I was. To see us play so well and win so convincingly was joyous. Ross said the bad luck had to end sometime. Not sure we played that much better against Motherwell. Just no sending offs, individual mistakes, or bad VAR decisions.
Yeah,
true. It was quite interesting because the press were saying that Motherwell were rubbish, and also the Motherwell head coach was saying, "Well, we played really badly." But I disagree. We took the game to them. We attacked them, and they were on the defensive right from the start, just like we were against Dundee. But this time we just didn't get somebody sent off, So, but I think we played very well against Motherwell. We were really clicking, and I think we just took the game away from Motherwell.
Yeah,
it is an easy thing to throw out, isn't it? Like the opponent that got beat were poor, because what we're saying about Aberdeen as well. Aberdeen were terrible, much worse than we expected. Yeah. But I think that takes a wee bit of credit away for Hibs. I think we play our part in making them look bad. So let's look at. We'll move on. We'll talk about this the Scottish Cup draw. Chelsea Clydebank Easter Road. Is it the dream tie for us? Is it could we have picked a better tie?
Completely. John was raging because the Rangers got, is it Fraserburgh or something, and they've got Kilmarnock. I was like, well, at least you're at home. And obviously we are, but that's the kind of ties you want early on. That really helps you to get there, and where we'll be in January as well. I think it's great that we're going to have a club like Clydebank to play against.
When did Clydebank come back? Because did Airdrie not become Clydebank? Like I got confused. This one, like, how, do you know when Airdrie went bust? Did they not become take over Clydebank? And then
no. Was it not ES Clydebank at one point in time? Was it not East Stirling?
I don't know. Clydebank have been out of the game for ages. You're laughing away there. I'm sure Clydebank have been out of the game for ages.
These clubs, what happened was, I think my son's Clydebank played at Kilberry, they played at Kilberry, but then so Clyde moved to Cumbernauld, didn't they? Clyde moved to Cumbernauld. Airdrie went bust, but they came back just as Airdrie again when they should have been something else. But no.
Was it not Airdrie United? Did they not come back as Airdrie United?
And they just get called Airdrie now. Yeah, but
I'm sure Clydebank were involved in that, and
rubbish. I mean, I was in the States at the time. But my son's first game was at Clydebank. Callum, who's now 6'4" and huge, and he went to the game with me, and of course, those people will remember Kilberry. There was no cover, and it was pissing with rain. And I can't remember what it was. I think we beat 1-0 or something like that. I can't remember. It was my son's first game, and he was 4 months old, and he was strapped to my chest inside the jacket that I've just been quoted £100 to fix. A big woolly jacket that I treasure, and but Callum was inside my jacket at Kilberry. That's my memories of Clydebank.
Well,
sounds like a day at Cowdenbeath.
It's no folk chuck all sorts inside their jackets. It could be like frozen turkeys now at the Tesco's. Right, according to Wikipedia, the current Clydebank are a Phoenix club formed after the previous Clydebank were bought out by Airdrie Orient FC and moved to Airdrie. Supporters currently fund this club. So I didn't imagine it, at least. Like I could take that one as a win.
For that, well done.
What do you look for in a Scottish Cup draw, Joe? Do you look for the easiest tie possible, or do you like a big tie?
Yes, obviously. But just while you're on that, I'm looking at it too. East Stirlingshire were controversially merged with Clydebank Juniors in 1964, and they became East Stirling Clydebank. So I was right.
So
The
you got the
memory's
right
not
as
gone
well.
off, Al.
There you go.
There you go, 1964. There you go. They became ES Clydebank. Anyway, fund of useless information. Sorry, I think it's a great draw for us. Any home draw is a good draw. But against Clydebank, that's us into, what, the last 16 or something now?
No, it's
Let's not jinx it.
last time.
We're only, after that, we're only 2 games away from a trip to Hampden.
There we go.
When's the last time Clydebank lost?
Oh, what?
It's a long time ago. They're in the west of Scotland, something league. They've not lost a game for decades. Not decades. But I don't know, something like 30 games or something like that. What's it?
Don't know.
Well, all good runs have got to end at some point.
As long as Bursick's not playing, we'll win that game.
I think we could probably play with Bursick blindfolded. I know. Let's not get carried away. Like, talking about things that come back and bite you on the arse.
Bursick they're talking about
just be
here.
quiet
Steady.
now. There's Robbie Mayer on the YouTube just said, mind Darvel beat Aberdeen guys, and mind Kelty, says Ian, and you're both spot on. So
there's always an upset in there, isn't there? That's what makes it so exciting, and it's the same with the FA Cup as well. You know, you get these ties and you're like, wow, look who's beat, and they move on, and it's good to see.
Exactly.
That garbled Aberdeen game, I remember watching that. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I think it was live on telly, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
It was superb.
Yeah.
Remember cheering?
One of the things that just to talk about, like good things that are happening. Hibs announced £5 for football over the festive period. I think it's the Kilmarnock game at Easter Road. Tickets for £5. It's interesting. There's a thread started on Hibs.net, and I think the first post on it was, I'm sure there'll be some season ticket holders not happy about it, and then all the season ticket holders come piling on saying, "No, delighted about it." You know, I think it's a great initiative. Tracy, you obviously worked at the club. It's a big thing for the club to do this because it costs a lot of money, or they lose out on a lot of money by doing it. But what are your thoughts on it, football for £5?
No, I think it's great. I think there should be more clubs doing things like this because it's absolute extortionate. We've been hearing clubs that have been, taking away their concessions and piling it on, pensioners and children. And, you want families to be at the games. Sometimes it's a great way as well when it's as cheap as that to introduce the kids. That's why I've got the Hibs Kids. Although I still don't agree that it's been taken off your season ticket. I think we've kind of lost our way a little bit with that. Kind of membership, but like Molly's boyfriend's kind of moved in with us, came to visit, never left. Obviously, we're so good, so we're going to use that game to take him as well and just see how he likes the football because he's never been to a football match in his life. So we're going to put Hibs on him. Well, for a £5, it's a good way to introduce him.
Are you then going to assess him as a potential longer-term boyfriend as a result of his reaction?
He doesn't have a choice.
He wouldn't want to upset the future mother-in-law, that's for sure.
I mean, it's funny because what Matty's saying is absolutely right. I saw that as well. It was just on Facebook when Hibs announced it. And somebody said, I think one of the first things that was said was, just wait for all the season ticket holders to start saying, what about us? And then it was quite funny. A couple of posts later, this guy said, what about us? Just for a laugh. He said it obviously just for a laugh. But it was great. The reaction from season ticket holders, including myself, was, we will always want what's best for the club. We don't put ourselves first. Although it's quite interesting at the Aberdeen game, as I said, there was quite a few in my row in the East Stand that weren't there at the game, and there was also quite a lot of people who'd obviously bought tickets for the Motherwell game who weren't there. So it was quite interesting. But the football for a £5 was a great idea, and one of the immediate reactions to the post from Hibs was this woman who said, "I'll take my 2 kids for the first time," which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Aye,
it's such an expensive time of year as well, and as I say, it's great to be able to then introduce kids. A lot of them don't like noise. Like when Molly and Lucy started, we were in the championship, so the crowds weren't huge, And I always remember, I think our first game was against Dunfermline with Neil Lennon, and we had about 13,500 in the stadium. And I just remember Molly sitting going, wow, where have all these people come from?
Yeah. Sorry, can I just add something? I mean, I go and watch the Monarchs, the Speedway, and what the Monarchs do is once a year they have a kids' day that's related. It's all related to the Armadale and West Lothian schools and stuff like that. But once a year they have the king and the queen of the gala day. They have that as well. They have a bouncy castle and all that sort of stuff. And in the past season, the Monarchs Fans Trust, which I'm also a member of, what we've done is we've had tie-ins with Falkirk Football Club. I think it's Falkirk. I can't remember who else it is. Falkirk, somebody else, to effectively let kids in for nothing, or going to promote them at the football ground.
And let's not forget the fact, if you get 2,000 or 3,000 extra folk with that deal, and let's face it, most of them will be shouting for Hibs. It's only going to help us against Kilmarnock.
I know. Because look at, did we not do it? Was it against St Johnstone?
We have done it against St Johnstone before, yeah.
That well, that was actually the day before Lucy's birthday as well. And obviously we were season ticket holders anyway, so but it was great. Even like the St Johnstone fans, they brought like a lot more people as well, and it was actually really good to see the stadium nice and full.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a great idea. I like that they do it, and as a season ticket holder, I'm all for it. I didn't really buy my season ticket for the value of it. Is to kind of keep my seat, and I like to have my own seat at Easter Road, and my aim is to like sort of sit there until the day that I can't go to football anymore. That's sort of why I would get my.
Whereabout are you in the ground,
West Upper, QQ 168. If anybody wants to come and say.
All right, I'm West Lower.
I think Matty.
If they want to fight, I'm at the other end. QQ like 10.
I think Matty, you know that I ran the Rangers bond for 5 years, and so I was responsible for selling the bonds, the debentures in the club deck, which actually built the club deck at Ibrox. And I still remember the price of the bonds, but there was 4 different prices, all from the middle going out the way. And for the debenture, like £1,750, they got that seat for life, as long as so that seat is theirs. But they still have to buy their season ticket every year. But the Rangers bonds sold out. Although it was quite interesting, and this is a bit of a thing that I shouldn't really disclose. But believe it or not, some of the Rangers supporters didn't want to sit in the club deck near the Celtic end. That's the Celtic end. I can't believe that you would actually say, your ground has got the end for the other team. But they've got the Rangers, and I did the same for Arsenal, and I did the same for Murrayfield as well. And we moved on to West Ham after that. But it was all the debenture schemes. And that's the same as New York Giants, because I got tickets for the Giants game when I lived there. And debentures, meant you could buy a season ticket for life.
So what I'm hearing here is when it all starts to kind of click with David Gray and the investment that we've got, and Hibs need to build an extra tier onto the West, you're the man to sort it out, Ian.
Well, I was actually, believe it or not, I had a meeting with Petrie and somebody else a few years ago specifically about this. And but again, as with most of the things that we got involved in, they just fell by the wayside, So.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a bit of plastic and the rest of it, but it's not even just about the physical seat. It's about the people that you kind of spend all that time with at matches. You become friends.
That's right.
We had the family in front. It was at their daughter's 30th at Easter Road Stadium. We had a nice family behind us, but then obviously famous 5 Lower became the seating section. The standing section even can't get my words out.
Tracy, what world do you live in, Tracy? I live in the world where the guy behind me shouts, "Campbell, you're an arsehole," the whole time, Well,
we did have one, but he eventually moved on, because I think it was.
He moved to my.
We were 1-4-0, and he was still shouting. And I actually had John at the game with me, and I said something, and he went, I pay my money, and God, that line.
Aye.
And I was like, in not so nice terms, I went, I pay my money as well. Bleep, 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 bleep. And I don't want to listen to you. Moaned about everybody. And it always used to end up, the player he always moaned about got man of the match. I just used to stand up and applaud it when they announced it, just to annoy him.
Best way to deal with that. Right, we'll move on to recruitment. Ian, you said you had some views on Garvan Stewart arriving from Bournemouth.
I posted it on when Hibs posted just on Facebook. I had a look at his LinkedIn, and I posted, at last we've got somebody who's qualified to do the job. If you look at his LinkedIn, if you just look at it, it's terrific in terms of where he started, and he was statistics guy, and then he was performance guy and whatever, and he's just moved up and up and up, and he's got a BSc, he's got I think he's got masters as well, and he's a really smart guy. But it was quite interesting because so I'm very encouraged by that. But I had a look at the Bournemouth site, the Bournemouth website, and I was very interested to see they've got no director of football. So the head coach is there, right? And they do have a performance director, but they've got no director of football. But it's also very interesting that they were advertising, they've got an advert for the lead performance data engineer, right?
Engineer.
Lead reporting to the performance director. And she's obviously brought this person in. I don't know if it's as a result of Garvan maybe previously having done that as well, and with him moving up or moving on to cover us as well. Then it might be maybe why the vacancy's there. But the lead performance data engineer will be a vital member of the performance team and medical team who manages performance and medical data both within AFC Bournemouth, right, and across the multi-club model of Black Knight Football Club. So in other words, this person is being recruited to do our data engineering as well. Now, the lead performance data engineer will use technical expertise and analysis skills to build our data platform from the ground up and play a crucial role in shaping the future of our data optimized systems and practices. And the qualifications for this, not Malky Mackay stuff, BSc or equivalent in computer science, data engineering, and related MSc or PhD preferred, 3+ years of performance data engineering role. So that's the job that Garvan Stewart did before. Strong expertise creating data pipelines, etc. And this is all related to the recruitment. And this is hilarious. It's just amazing that Hibs would have somebody like this. Experience with a variety of programming languages, Easy, SQL, Python, etc.
Yeah, but getting back to the Hibs though, Ian, this is good news because this looks like the Black Knights are seriously going to get involved with the Hibees. That's what I read into it more than anything.
No, you're absolutely right.
It's just started that journey now, doesn't it?
The point I'm making is that this person's operating. So Garvan Stewart is obviously going to be doing recruitment for us. As a result of that, we're also getting somebody who's going to do this analysis, right? Who's also now going to be doing ours as well. And that's great. As you say there, it's funny because Joe, that was my immediate thought right away was they've obviously they're saying, right, this is what you need. Okay, you might say you need to help with this, but we're also going to give you this. And I think they're asserting themselves. I think you're right, Joe.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a quote for Simon Francis, who's the technical director at Bournemouth, which I think is probably the closest they've got to the director of football, Ian. Yeah. He said, during his time at Bournemouth, Garvan demonstrated a great work ethic, professionalism, and ability to connect player profiles to the needs of the club within the recruitment and data departments. We will continue to work closely with Garvan, as well as Malky and everyone at Hibernian, to enhance on-pitch performance. And I found that last paragraph really interesting. That continues, so there's a nod to it's already happening. Mm-hmm. But this isn't like Garvan moving from Bournemouth to go and do something completely different. This is Garvan coming to Hibs to work with the folk that he was working with before at Bournemouth as well. So, Tracy, you think this is like the sign of exciting times coming?
Yeah, it kind of feels like what we've been promised with Black Knights, and how that was all going to fit together. Because we just kind of, before it's just felt like we're taking the investment, but we don't really know what that investment's gone to. been spent on and the rest of it, and then we've not had any players in the summer. So you wondered whether or not there was tensions there, and then obviously we had the Bill Foley come out and say something, and then somebody had leaked what he was talking about. Whereas if we just had the comment from Bill Foley, it wouldn't have been as bad. But yeah, it just kind of feels now that I mean, I don't know, maybe they've all found it quite hard to navigate. You know, it's quite a difficult thing, I would imagine, you know, bringing other people into something that you're trying to build as well. But yeah, it just kind of feels that that's now the start of the Black Knight journey with Hibs.
Do you not think there's an element, Tracy, of the Black Knights saying, right, you appointed the manager without our approval, you know, you appointed Malky without our approval, bought my league for ages, right, we're getting involved now and you're going to see how it should be done. That's the feeling I get.
Yeah. The thing is, they are on, you know, you've got the two of them on the board. You've got Bill and, what is it, Ryan? Is it Ryan somebody?
Yeah, Ryan Caswell.
Yeah. So you've got the two of them on the board. So they are all there. So, okay, they might have said, well, no, but the rest of the board didn't. As a board, they have to make a collective decision. And sometimes, you know, you don't get the result that you personally wanted. But, you know, they are on the board, so they would have had a say or get their point across anyway, but it might just not have been the result that they wanted.
There's a couple of comments on YouTube. So a few folk acknowledging the £5 deal being a good thing. Ross said football was getting like Moneyball. In brackets, great book, by the way. Stevie says, wish they could turn Hibs into a mini Bournemouth. They're doing excellent in the EPL this season. Currently watching them now, beating Spurs 1-0. Paul said, Ian Gordon already tried Moneyball, got us into this position we're in with a bloated stroke poor squad. Difference is Black Knights is they actually know what they're doing. A bloated backroom staff now, though, is the question. Ian, what do you think? Do you think Garvan's arrival means we're top heavy in that sort of area, or is this a sort of appointment that's essential anyway?
We already were top heavy. You know, as far as I'm concerned, we should not have Malky there. I just don't see the value of Malky at all. Certainly, Marshall, I don't see the value of him being there either. That you know, at all. You know, and the whole recruitment process was daft. I think Bournemouth, we have to listen to them. We have to be adults about this. We have to say we're going to benchmark on what Bournemouth have done. And when we look at them and we've got something that doesn't fit their model, then we should do something about it. So if people don't perform, they should not have a job with us. And if they're not got qualifications for a job, we should never employ them in the first place. My view is, and interesting. Sorry, I didn't take a note of the commenter's name there, but I don't think we've got a poor squad at all. I really don't. And I've said this consistently throughout the season. We just had, you know, David Gray's an inexperienced coach. I keep on saying that, and he's learning, and I think he's doing well. But now, when we made the decision to appoint David, we had to accept that we would have to give him 2 years. I don't think there's a lot wrong with the squad. I really don't. And I mean, obviously, up front, we've really struggled because Kieran Bowie got injured, and I'm just assuming that he is going to come back and be highly effective. But I don't think we have a poor squad at all.
Joe, what do you expect to see in January? And do you think it's too late in the day for Garvan to impact this transfer window, or would you expect to see a difference?
I think if they brought in 3 or 4 key players, we definitely need another goalkeeper. I really do think that. I mean, I know the new boy coming in showing positive signs, but I think we need a really good goalkeeper. I think we need another striker. That's for sure. And I'm hoping that we maybe get a couple of Bournemouth loanees as well, you know, because they're obviously watching their budget as we go through this. But we need 2 permanent new signings in the transfer window, a really good goalkeeper and an additional striker, because it might be, you know, March before Bowie's back, to playing fitness, you know, he might be fit, but not match fit, as it were, sharp. So I think if we buy another centre forward, sorry for the old-fashioned language, a really class goalkeeper and then maybe get a couple of loanies from Bournemouth or that connection, then that would be a good January for us, in my view.
What would you like to see, Tracy?
It depends on how many bodies we get out the door as well, because we can't just keep bringing bodies in, because then we have the wage bill's just going to get bigger and bigger. And there's no point in doing that if, you know, we come out of the end of the year a lot stronger. Obviously, you know, Bursick's not been fantastic for us. I always feel for goalkeepers. They make a mistake, it's the most that's the most exposed role in the team. Didn't like the fact he tried to blame someone else for his error. And I think Dave did the right thing keeping him in, because, you know, you don't want to shoot down his confidence, because if it's already low, it's just going to make it 10 times worse and you'll never get that back. But I think he's done it the right way, and I think Smith's obviously, you know, he's bided his time and he's got there, but we could probably do with, you know, a top
class.
Potentially looking at, you know, can Bursick go back? It depends on what contract they've had. There might be a clause in there where they can take him back in January, so hopefully that's possibly the case. I hate talking negatively about players, but obviously it's not really worked out for us with him, so I would rather see, you know, somebody else come in. Quite clearly they don't rate Max Boric, otherwise he probably would have had his shot by now as well. Murray Johnson's obviously doing okay at Airdrie. It's a good lad. He's still learning, developing. So I wouldn't want to be bringing him back, because I think he's had quite a rough ride. He's been brought back, then not used, and it's really kind of affected his development as well. So I wouldn't want to do that to the lad. Yeah, the striker position, you know, we don't know when Bowie's going to be back, so I'll probably be looking at that. I do think Miko's still got, you know, more to give us, but I don't think he's a lone striker. And you can tell when he's got someone up there with him, you know, he is a little bit more effective, and I think that will come. I think confidence has just been shot all round. So if you've got that all through the team, then everybody's affected by it. But the fact he scored, that'll help him, whether it's just a tap in or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's scored. He scored. He's got another goal there, and it'll help his confidence as well. So yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, I think we've got a really good guy in place. We've seen before under Lennon that we had, you know, you can have a really effective January.
Yeah.
And then it can change the rest of your season. But as I say, there's no point in bringing all these extra bodies in and increasing the wage bill if there aren't going to be people that are moving on or moving on to loan deals where we can try and reduce the wage bill a bit.
Remy Cool said that we need 2 new fullbacks for either side. Miller, Chris Cademy, Puras has a beater. These guys are not good enough to help Hibs fire up the league. Ian, you said you thought Hibs had a good squad. If you had the control of the checkbook in January and you were going to prioritise signings, what would you be doing?
Just a striker and a goalkeeper. That's all. I mean, sorry to disagree with the guy, but I cannot believe that somebody thinks that our fullbacks are not good enough. You know, they are definitely good enough. I mean, you know, we don't go from having the player of the season to the NBA, no, we've got to get rid of them. So no, our fullbacks are good. You know, if we look at the start, and one of the things you probably want to talk about is who do you think we'd start against Celtic? I mean, is Joe Newell available?
Yes, I think he is available. Although I've got this wrong 2 games in a row.
He's
not.
You're my only source of information on this is
fatal mistake here.
Right, but I mean, basically, I would start with exactly the same team, apart from Dwight Gale instead of Kukarevich. If Joe wasn't available, I would start with Josh, but I'd be very, very happy playing the 5-4-1. So with both the wing backs, obviously they'll be pushed back more against Celtic. But no, I don't think we've got a weak squad at all. I think we've got a good squad. I would play both the Caddens because I don't know if you saw they are keeping up with the Caddens skit. It was hilarious, absolutely brilliant.
Very good.
And it's really good for morale when these two are playing together. Unless Chris has a really bad game, then I love Lewis Miller, but I would start with the same guys. And I think we've got a good squad, and I think it's coming into shape because the coaching team is getting up to speed. Yeah,
I agree with everything Ian said, other than if Joe's not available, I'd bring in Levitt.
For the number 10 position, Joe.
Yeah, that's it.
Got to play him in the right position. Got to. It's
Yeah,
the way you're going to get the best out of him.
Exactly.
How would you approach it on Saturday, Tracy?
Oh, do we need to turn up?
We have to. Can't you forfeit?
I just think we have to keep doing what we're doing. There seems to be, the confidence is growing. I think all we can ask for is a performance. Don't hide. Don't let the fear of it being Celtic, and let that Celtic shirt put fear into you, because they're just like anybody else. So I think we just have to go there, have that performance. Nobody's really expecting us to come away with a 3-0 win, or Celtic would have to be having a really bad day, and at Parkhead, or Celtic Park as it is. They would have to have a really bad day. I mean, I was at the Club Bruges game, and the highest seat possible, I think I must have climbed about 5 million stairs. And I mean, they weren't great in the first half, at all. Second half, yeah, they picked up, and they were the kind of Celtic you kind of know, and obviously that front three with Kuhn, Maida, and Kyogo, and are just frightening. But we can't go in scared.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about, have a performance. That's all we can ask for. Nobody's expecting us to. We're probably not really expecting to get anything out of that. And I think Dundee will do the job against Hearts. So I don't think we'll have to worry about dropping back down.
I think if you think back to the two games against Celtic earlier in the season, Ian, we started badly and conceded an early goal both times, which obviously kind of kills the game. You want to kind of keep it at 0-0 as long as possible against Celtic. But we grew into the game in both of them as well, and we got the goal at Celtic Park, and it was the first shot that Schmeichel had faced, or it was a header, but you know what I mean. First attempt on target. We should take confidence for that. Do you think?
Definitely. Anybody can beat anybody, right? Definitely. As Tracy said, Celtic have got to play. They've got to play badly, but equally, we have to take the game to them. We have to play the players who are the big occasion players. So Dwight Gale is a big occasion player. He's well used to playing big matches. Junior Hoyle is used to playing on a big stage. We've got to play these guys who are right for the occasion. But you're absolutely right. I've been probably every Celtic game at Parkhead for a long time. I was trying to remember today when the last time we won was. I remember John McGinn scoring, but I can't remember.
That was a draw. Danny Galbraith, I think it was.
Danny Galbraith,
last time we won there.
Game as well, yeah. And I think you're right, Danny Galbraith. And the McGinn one, you're right, was a draw when the stewards stopped McGinn from celebrating with us. But the main thing is, as you said, is we cannot lose an early goal. We always lose an early goal at Parkhead. And it's usually because Callum McGregor runs straight towards us. And incredibly, we seem to just freeze when they run. And Callum McGregor runs straight towards us, does a 1-2 with somebody, and it just causes havoc. So we can definitely compete well against Celtic, and that's all we can ask to do is compete well. But I'm optimistic. We play the big players. And I think we've got a chance. I do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're just about out of time, so let's get score predictions. Tracy, what's the score going to be?
Who won Celtic?
Okay, Joe?
Celtic to lose their 100% record, 1-1.
All right, and Ian?
I think that I should give you my phone number, Matty, so that when we win, you have somebody to phone, no matter how late at night during the night, whatever you want. So yeah, I think we'll draw. I think we'll draw.
A draw. All right. Well, we will. Colin and I will be here to preview it on YouTube tomorrow, round about 4:15. So if you want to tune in for that, you can also submit a team selection. Joe, you sent us yours last week, didn't you? We had that included in the show.
Yes.
Sandy, who I think is watching as well, submits it regularly. You can do it on the Hibs app. I don't know if everybody's got the Hibs app. You can go on there and pick a team and share it. So you can do that. Put it on Twitter
or your long bangers email address.
Yeah, longbangers@gmail.com. You can just email it and we'll include them. Depending, not if we get hundreds, we'll include the best ones if we get hundreds or the ones that are most common. So tune in for that. Collins, I think, is away watching. He's away at a gig or something tonight. Living the high life that he got out in the phone, and that's why you can't see him hiding in the dark like he normally is on here. Right, thanks for tuning in, folks, guys. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you all next time.